Welcome back to the Outdoor Adventures Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Williams. I've got co-host fill-in today, John Gaderos, taking Dylan's seat over there.
Yep. Keeping it warm for him.
Yeah, got to keep it warm. And we got guest Reef Dearth here with us. He's the shop supervisor for Thor Targets.
Hey.
Hey, Reef, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So a couple things just for an update. So today's May 11th. We had some exciting stuff going on yesterday, May 10th. We had the Aurora Borealis in Oregon visible for, I don't know how often it's visible in Oregon, but I don't think it comes around very often. And I was at a Need to Breathe concert in Washington, Ridgefield, Washington. And we get out of this concert at 11 o'clock and everybody's staring at the sky. And I had seen that it was coming on my phone, and we just saw that green kind of stuff floating in the air. At first, you're like, "Am I something wrong with my eyes? Like I'm seeing some floaties that shouldn't be there, you know?" And then people are taking pictures, but with the naked eye, I couldn't really see much. So I was like, I'm not going to try to take a picture of something I can't see. I'll wait till I get home, you know? And in hindsight, that was like maybe peak time, at least from what I saw. And I should have taken some photos as they would have probably turned out pretty cool, but we got home and played around with it. But I saw a lot of other people's photos on Facebook, and it looked, I mean, the reds and the purples and the greens, and kind of a neat thing to see. So, Reef, you're going to go check it out this evening, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think I'm going to head up to top of Mary's Peak.
Yeah, I can't imagine a better place to see it.
Yeah. All right, get above the clouds in the inversion layer and get away from the pollution, the light.
Yeah, that'll be really spectacular, I bet. You're going to have to update us on that.
For sure.
And so then update on the Department of Fish and Wildlife. So as some of our listeners know, I did put myself in the ring for that. I made it through the first cut, which was, there was 23 of us that they narrowed it down to, and we were told only 4 to 6 would go to the interview round, but I think only 2. I think they selected the 2 top candidates for what they were looking for, and these 2 ladies made it through, and I watched the YouTube interviews, and they grilled them. I mean, they were just in the hot seat. It goes on for 3 hours.
Wow. And
you can watch it online. But we ended up selecting a director. So this is breaking news. This just happened yesterday. And it's Dr. Debbie Colbert, or I don't know if it's Colbert or Colbert. I don't know if the T is silent. Mm-hmm. It's Colbert. She's 54 years old. She's from Corvallis. She worked for the Department of Fish and Wildlife in the past. She has a bachelor's degree in biology, master's degree in oceanography, and then a PhD in interdisciplinary oceanography. I'm not even sure what that means. But
like jail and fish.
Yeah. I think it's multiple different factors of oceanography.
Yeah.
You know, so she probably specializes on different layers of the ocean, or I'm not sure. But you know, I think what won the day for her was she showed a commitment to hatcheries. She said hatcheries would be part of the management strategy, in her opinion, for as long as we're going to have fish and wildlife. Like there's no way to undo that at this point. And she also showed a commitment to hunters and the importance of hunters to the resource. So I think that's what won the day for her. Some people are saying she was a more conservative choice than the other candidate, but in my opinion, without all of us that buy those hunting and fishing licenses, you don't have a budget to protect the resource you want to protect, right. You know?
Yeah.
And we want the resource to be as healthy as it can be, but we also want the opportunity to go out in the field and fill our tags.
Absolutely. You know, the people that purchase the hunting licenses and fish, they're the greatest conservationists in the whole country.
Yeah.
I mean, we're dumping tons of money into that every year. It's not like, one time I'm going to go try it out year after year.
Yeah, and gear and, you know, to the retailers. And, you know, it's a huge industry, as we all know. Mm-hmm. And if you decide either to not have hunting in your state, or you reduce it to a point where people don't want to do it anymore, or you raise prices too high, you're in big trouble.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't manage that resource without money. And they have 1,200 employees at Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. That's a lot of people to keep employed, you know? So.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah, hopefully she does a good job. That's a high-pressure job. You've got, like we talked before we got on the air, there's so many people you got to please, right? You've got the tribal treaties. You got the commercial guys, you got the sports guys, you got the environmental groups.
Yep.
There's no the ranchers. You know, you can't keep everybody happy.
No,
Yeah.
the position is she's, for the lack of a better term, damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah. And dams are a big part of it too.
Yeah.
People are always trying to tear those things down.
Yep.
So another shout out we want to give, and John, I'll let you take the reins here just because you have the relationship. But John made a relationship with 11 Seasons Clothing Company, and so he's sporting one of their shirts today. And first of all, tell us about their gear and what they're all about. And
Yeah, so it's a husband and wife kind of company right now. They're out of Colorado, I believe, and they have like a big ranch in Nebraska. It's not too far away, but they make clothing kind of for, I mean, whatever season you're kind of going for. Like right now I'm wearing one of their like lightweight Sport Tech hoodies, and they make other t-shirts and sweaters and stuff like that. And yeah, really, I mean, high quality stuff, and price point on it is super good.
And it looks like the material is kind of like that sun protective type material.
Yeah.
So that's nice. I like that. I like that kind of gear you can just throw on and not worry about getting sunburned.
Oh,
Tell you what, I spent a week in Phoenix. Everybody wore those.
Oh, yeah.
Lightweight, long sleeve with a hood.
Yeah.
And I seen people with big, huge hats too, but a lot of people wore those. I mean, the sun is brutal.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
I had them for when we were going bow hunting over east every year. Just something like this that, one, you're not going to get sunburnt, but you're going to stay cool, and like you're not wearing big layers where you're just going to be sweating to death, where like something like this is perfect for that.
So tell our listeners what they can do if they want to try some 11 Seasons gear.
You can go, we'll be posting a link on our page, but you can check them out, 11 Seasons Outdoors, and check out their shop, all their clothing. And then we have a discount code, it's just OAP, that you guys can use and get yourself some gear.
Yeah, they get 15% off with the OAP discount code. So,
Yeah.
you know, Outdoor Adventures Podcast, we're going to try to use that code wherever we can to save you guys some money. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to turn off our screensaver real quick so you guys talk for a minute. Just because it's annoying when it's popping up when I'm trying to watch what we're doing. Here we go. I got a couple clicks. Sorry.
Well, I can fill some time in here real quick.
Sure. Yeah, go for it,
I
Reef.
brought y'all some T-shirts.
Oh, man. You're already bringing out the swag?
Might as well. You said fill in the time. A large?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I got a large and a couple extra larges.
Oh, extra large for me. He might be the large.
Yeah. I could squeeze in that.
Yeah, I'm a big guy.
And then I brought a whole bunch of stickers.
Oh,
Nice.
sweet.
We're going to get see the gun case over there, Reef?
I brought extra stickers.
Oh, man. Look at this guy. He is hooking us up.
I go to SHOT Show, man.
Yeah.
A patch, another shirt. You said you had 3 here, so
Yeah, Dylan. We'll take care of Dylan.
See,
Make
Dylan,
sure he
you're
gets it.
missing out.
I'm.
Yeah,
oh,
that's cool.
yeah. There's more patches in there too.
Man, well, thank you.
Absolutely.
That's a good way to start a show when you start giving us some merch right out of the gates.
Yeah.
So you were talking about SHOT Show. So is this you guys went this year? Is that your first time going there?
So I've gone twice previously as just to go check it out. And then this was the first year Thor Targets had a booth at SHOT Show. $60,000 later, we picked up a couple dealers, nothing major, sold a few small targets. We did meet up with some like Instagrammers, big names, you know, and some of it's worked out, some of it hasn't, but like we went and just did a shoot in Phoenix called CanCon. It costs the general public $50. They come out. They can shoot whatever they want. There's full auto 308s, Kimbers, Glocks, SIG, all the big names, all the suppressors you can think of, fully suppressed event. That was cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And we've already seen more feedback from that one little event that we didn't pay anything to go to versus $60,000 at SHOT Show.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big investment.
Huge.
I mean, SHOT Show is typically in Vegas too, right?
It's always in Vegas.
Okay.
I don't think there's actually another place that could
Accommodate.
house
Yeah,
that.
where they could fit it.
I have somewhere on my phone. I'll have to find it and send it to you guys. But it gives like stats. It's like, I want to say it was like 18 miles of aisles.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It covered 88 acres.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's huge.
But a fully suppressed event, because we all know how hard it is to get a suppressor in Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't do it because it's expensive. Number one, per weapon, you have to register it
per suppressor.
Okay.
So if you were to go with like a 30 cal suppressor that you could run on multiple platforms, then it's only one tax stamp.
Okay, but that's still what, 1,000 to 1,500?
Yeah,
and a huge line you're waiting in to get it.
Yeah.
But my biggest complaint when I go to the range is when everybody else shoots, I'm like, I get that twitch from everybody else shooting, and I don't enjoy that part of it. I don't mind when I'm the one pulling the trigger, but when everyone else is blanging away after me, it messes with your nerves.
100% worth it to go to CanCon.
Yeah, so a fully suppressed event would be...
No ear protection. I mean, there were some people that were wearing muffs, cool, but you didn't have to.
Yeah.
By no means, especially if you shotguns. Yeah.
It would be kind of weird at first when you see those big guns going off and you don't hear anything.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. At one point, I think they busted out a 50 cal full auto 50 because it sounded like a Black Hawk helicopter coming into land from distance. You just heard that.
Yeah.
I'm looking around like somebody brought a helicopter.
So we were just letting it rip.
Yeah. So this place is held at Ben Avery Shooting Park. It's owned by the state, managed by their fish and game department. It is the largest range in the country. It's got 1,000-yard long range. It's got pistol courses. It's got run and gun stages. This is like a sportsman's dream. I pull up. I'm like, oh my goodness, this place is awesome. It trap and skeet ranges all over different areas, and it had an RV campground.
Oh, perfect!
right there at the range. I'm like,
so you were a happy man.
Shop. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
we're already planning to go next year, and we're like, we're taking the fifth wheel. We'll drive down. Because this year we flew and shipped our stuff, and I mean it was fine. But now that we've done it,
but when you're shipping steel targets, I mean that's probably expensive and a lot of weight to mess with.
Yeah,
and,
it gets expensive.
You load up a whole crate of that stuff.
We worked out a deal with XPO. The nice little name drop for you guys there. But they do us right, and we can ship stuff all over the world.
Well, we're going to dive in with you on Thor Targets, but this episode is sponsored by New Res, Caliber Home Loans. And so I just want to give a shout out to them for sponsoring the episode. But so Thor Targets, so you've been there for 6 years. We talked a little earlier, and you are the shop supervisor.
Yep.
You guys have been in business for 11 years. And I know you did other stuff, but you've really kind of focused on laser cut steel targets.
Yep.
And as we talked prior to getting going here, you're building a product that you can go, hey, Cabela's, hey, Sportsman's, hey, Bimart, stock our product. It's a high quality product. We've made it easy for you. Here's the SKUs. Reorder when you run out, and we're going to take care of you.
Man, hey, you want a job?
Yeah. Well, that was all just from what you explained to me before we got started. That's all I got, though. So you're going to have to fill in some gaps.
I'm sold.
But yeah, I mean, and so describe your targets a little bit for those. I mean, most people I think have seen a Thor target around here.
Yeah.
But describe what's your biggest seller? What's kind of the main framework of your targets?
So the main framework of our targets is a 2x4. I mean it's the most shot up part, but the most cost effective part. Just the post. Everybody shoots the post. I don't care if you've been shooting for 100 years. You could be an expert. It happens. So to build something off of a 2x4, like a 10-foot 2x4 is what, $5? You can get 3 40-inch posts out of there. And that's the height that we designed it for. We do custom cut targets, obviously, but our I guess our bread and butter would be our A zone and our torso, more of a human shaped type target. And we got dueling trees and hostage targets, and they're all big. They all sell. It's just finding the different demographics. You know, some people don't want to spend $600 on a target that they're going to go out and shoot once a year. Some people, here's my black card. I want one of each.
Yeah.
So it's all varies, but I'm.
And you're setting up targets for all different ranges too? I'm guessing. So
absolutely. Well, insurance says 25 feet, 25 yards for a pistol and 100 yards for a rifle.
Okay.
I've seen people shoot them closer. I've shot them closer. Probably not smart.
Is that a ricochet risk? Is that what it is?
Yes and no. It's really funny with a steel target, and like if you look at how our target system is designed, it actually absorbs the recoil as it's hit. So if you look after you're done shooting, you can go down range and look down on the ground right below the target, and you'll see, we call them freedom flowers. But it's literally just little stamps of the bullet, what's left of it.
I like that, freedom flowers.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say
Well,
it.
you got freedom seeds.
Yeah.
So these are freedom flowers.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And all different bullets have different shaped flowers. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're shooting your target, is it designed, it kind of flips and then comes back?
yeah, it just has a nice little swing to it. So if I use a 2x4 rectangle and then a 2x4 board, and it fits just right with just enough slop in there to where when you hit it, I don't have to have a preset angle for deflection. It absorbs that impact and kind of resets. Doesn't work so good with full auto,
Yeah.
but I mean, not many people are shooting full auto. And I have stuff for that too. It's just a different setup.
Full auto is, talk about a permit process. Isn't that a whole,
man.
a lot of energy involved to get there?
Absolutely. We had two. Josh had two full auto AR-15s, M16s, whatever you want to call them. And sad day. I had to destroy them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Broke my heart.
Just because when
He
they
had
changed?
let his FFL lapse with his SOT for the store when he closed
Okay.
the store. And when he did that, they're like, yep, those were on there. He didn't transfer them. So
They have to be destroyed.
they have to be destroyed.
Wow.
And there's like a process to it. And
Yeah.
you have to cut certain spots, and yeah, it was not cool.
You got to weld the firing pin or anything?
No, I had to destroy the serialized part.
Okay.
So on that case, lower.
Okay.
But everything else is just parts.
Yeah, because you guys used to be Thor Armory and you had
Correct.
a full gun shop. And Josh, you dropped his name as the owner of the company?
Yes. Thor Targets has always been Thor Targets. Thor
Okay.
Armory was its
Was
own
a separate
little,
entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to get them confused.
No.
Too many people do, and then they're like, well, you guys closed down. And we're like, no.
We closed the gun shop,
Yeah,
but we're
we
still
closed the
selling
gun
the
store.
targets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, a guy like me or John, just a normal consumer, I mean, your goal is to sell to the big retail box store.
Yeah.
So we could go into, where are you guys in right now?
Bimart.
Okay.
That's for the Pacific Northwest. That's the biggest one. Is we're in Bimart, and pretty much every gun store along the west side of the state. We're working on it. We're going east. We're Ace Hardware. We're getting in with them, but they're more individually owned. So you got to work through the channels.
Got to talk to each owner, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's
we're
your-
doing the Buyers Club show this year, or we're trying to. That one is big because a lot of retails, the big stores, they don't buy individually. They go through the Buyers Club. You don't even. We would like us. We would even get paid from say Bimart if they were in the Buyers Club. They place the order. We get a check from Buyers Club. It's funny. It's just like the Ruger 1022 at Bimart. I can't even buy them at wholesale for what they sell them for.
Yeah. You were talking about that, about what was that gun that they had?
Oh yeah,
there?
I bought it was a Howa 1500 with their carbon fiber barrel and stuff, and it was like dirt cheap. So I bought one and like looked it up later, and it was like half the price of what you could buy it offline. I was just like, that's weird. I should go buy every single one of them.
Yeah, and wasn't it the price that you could go find a barrel for? Or
Yeah,
something?
you could buy it was cheaper than what you could just buy a barreled action with the carbon fiber online. And I was like, why wouldn't you just buy a whole gun for that?
Yeah, it's crazy. So, John, you probably have some good questions for Reef just because you do a lot more shooting than I do in target shooting. But when you go into like a Bimart as a consumer, what's your like lowest end target retails for?
The best bang for your buck at in the Bimart store is their range ready kit. Does that mean it's base, the hook, the target, and the 2x4s all in one box? There's no other stops, no going to Home Depot. You grab that one box, your couple boxes of ammo, head for the hills.
Okay.
Go
What does
shoot
that
some.
run you typically?
I think Bimart retails them for $89.99.
Oh, That's
Yeah, it's
pretty cheap.
not bad.
Yeah.
The on
Well-
sale, they're $69.99.
Yeah, when you were throwing out like 600 a while back, I was like, man, these are some high end targets.
Yeah.
But obviously, the bigger they are, the
Yeah.
more expensive they're
Yeah.
going to be. So,
AR steel is not cheap.
yeah, no, I bet not.
And there's just nothing better. Like I just recently started shooting steel targets, like maybe the past couple of years, but like shooting that compared to just shooting paper, like you get like the joy out of like
The plink.
the plink. Yeah.
It's the instant gratification.
Yeah.
And that's what we deal with society nowadays. Everybody's satisfaction is right there at their
Yeah.
fingertips. So it's right there. New shooters, kids, when you're shooting steel targets, nothing better.
Yeah.
I mean, they hear it, and their eyes get big. They're like, I hit it. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I was shooting a piece of paper. It's like, did I hit it?
Yeah.
Hold on, son.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Yep, you got it. You know.
So our newest base design that we came out with, we actually can incorporate a paper target and a steel target on the same setup in line with each other, so you can actually work on your zero work and get good groups, but still get that audible feedback, so you know that you're hitting the area you want.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Something just always innovating. You have to be in this industry, or
Oh, yeah.
you're going to get left behind.
Yeah. If you're not growing, you're dying. That's
Yeah.
what they say in pretty
Yeah.
much every industry. So what, Josh, when he started this company, what was his motivation for starting it?
So he started actually because he was shooting speed steel competitions out at ARPC, and he started in the industry I did, industrial construction, and he was out there shooting speed steel. He was like, hey, I want to get some steel targets to practice. He went online and looked at like Action Targets, I think is who he went to, and it was just like, oh my gosh, expensive,
Yeah.
and then to ship. So I can cut this stuff. I went to Far West, ordered a sheet of material, got out his plasma cutter and cut some targets. Tried them out. They worked. A couple buddies were like, hey, we want some targets. Made those. They worked. Pretty soon it was buying 4 or 5 sheets of material, cutting it all by hand, and then starting to hit in gun stores. And he was like, I wouldn't come home until I sold everything I had. That's what it takes. I mean, you have to put in the hours. So far, I think we're here to stay.
Yeah, so boots on the ground, grassroots type
Yep.
startup. That's neat.
All because he was just killing time on a Sunday.
Yeah, that's crazy. How did you end up getting involved with the company?
When Thor Armory was here in Albany, I was just a customer, come in, talk to him. I seen he had an ad for help at the store, and so I went and talked to him, and he's like, no, I already got somebody. And I was like, whatever. A couple weeks later, funny story. So I was outside Coos Bay. We were hunting. We were like 14 miles up into Weyerhaeuser. We were a good ways up there. And hit the top of a mountain, and everybody's phones blew up. No, whatever. I just pulled over right there, big clear cut. We're going to look around. I was messing around with something, getting my spot and scope out, and my buddy Jim was like, I'm going to take a walk down this little grassy road. Okay. It wasn't 2 minutes, and he was high-stepping back. There's a bear. He's like, I don't have my bear tag. I was the only one in the group that had a bear tag. All right. He's like, it's just down there on the left, so as you go around the corner, you can see her. Cool. Walking down, look, nothing. He's messing with me. But I can see the end of the road, so okay, whatever. I walk a little bit farther, nothing. I am 20 feet from this bear. No, 20 yards. She had crossed the road and had her head buried in a salal bush. She had no clue I was there. Turned, leveled, perfect shot, double lunged her. She still ran down the cut bank, across the road, over the hill. All my buddies come up. My stepson's with me, and they're like, you got her? I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got her. I'm just, teeth chattering.
Yeah.
So grab our pistols, and over the bank we go. We dropped off the side of the road, and she was wadded up under some bushes. Done.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then we spent the next 3 hours trying to get her up that 6-foot bank.
Right.
Anybody that's ever handled a bear, there's nothing to grab onto.
Right. Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah.
I have never done it, but I'm about to go next week, so.
I'm excited for. He told me you guys are going bear hunt.
Yeah, my son and I. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting.
Because this is his
first big game hunt, really. Like, I mean, he's been on some, but
he's been there.
But he's got the tag, so I've been doing all the e-scouting, and it's. I'm just hoping. I think with this warm spell, we got 80-degree weather right now. I'm hoping that snow level has come down a little bit. So where we're going. So how did that connect you to Thor Armory? Like that. You were telling the story, and you're in Coos Bay, phones blow up.
So it was his wife sent me a text message that Josh wanted to talk to me, and I'm like, okay.
You're in the middle of taking care of a bear first.
Yeah. Sorry, hunting. So I texted her. I was like, I'm hunting. I'll get back to you. So when I got to town, I went and talked to him, and he was like, I need somebody to run my shop.
Okay.
What do you do? Well, we make these targets. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out. So it was literally like within a week. It was a one-man show at that point. It was just me, and then I brought my stepson in, showed him how to weld, taught him, just the basics of fabrication, and then he went off to the Marine Corps and hired somebody else. He got me through COVID. Mm-hmm. That was a challenge because COVID was a real tough dynamic in the industry. It was busy, but it wasn't. Like my targets, I wasn't selling anything, but man, I spent more time selling guns at the gun store and ammo than anything. And I've never seen people act that way around guns and ammo. Like I had one guy come in, and he's like, "Hey, what gun do you have that has ammo for it?" I'm like, "Well, I got this Kimber 1911." He's like, "How much ammo do you have for it?" I'm a couple hundred rounds. He goes, "I'll take it."
With all the rounds, yeah.
Didn't care about the price. I could have sold him a rock, but if it would have fired a bullet and I had a bullet for it, he would have bought it.
Yeah, isn't that wild? And I don't know if it was like a surplus because there was that stimulus money, or people were bored, or if it was like a fear of the unknown.
Panic buying.
Yeah.
It was a panic buy, 100%. I had a girl come in. She was young, barely 21. And I want this pistol. Like she had a specific name, model, make. This is what I want. Okay, I got it right here. Okay, I'll take it. Didn't care about the cost. She didn't even care if I had ammo for it. So she must have knew somebody that had it. But yeah, it was strange.
Yeah, the ammo thing was really challenging. You couldn't get ammo part of it was I think all the manufacturers were shut down, or they couldn't run full speed with COVID.
I can't even remember who it was that told me, but they were telling me that you have to go through pretty extensive training to be the primer person. And that's where their shortage was because that's the volatile spot,
Yeah, you don't want to be blowing up barrels. Yeah, you don't make a lot of friends if you do that.
Yeah, and they're like, that's because a primer goes off in that they like work in their own little cubicle, sorting primers out and slide it through the cubicle to the next person, and yeah.
So I'm guessing you get excited. I can see the excitement when you're talking about shooting, which is exciting for me too. I'm guessing you were a gun guy already, and so what's, as far as when you're going to go out and shoot, what do you like to shoot as far as calibers, styles? do you have a favorite or a handful?
I like the ones that have triggers.
Yeah. You're not that picky.
No. Yeah. No. Especially if it's something that's new. I don't mean like new on the market. I mean like new to me. I could care less how old it is. I'm not a clicky gun guy. I'm like, hey, that's a cool gun. I like it. I want to at least shoot it, And I mean, I want to educate myself on how to use them. And I guess that's the way I was raised.
That's what I was going to say. Has it been that way your whole life?
Yeah. I always want to know how do I use it. So,
what's your go-to gun for target shooting?
My AR.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kicking the pants. I put a Franklin binary trigger in it. Yeah, it's a built AR, all arrow build, and it's a fun gun. It's a good time. It's my happy gun. It literally puts a smile on my face every time I shoot it.
Yeah.
How
about your go-to hunting gun?
My 270.
Okay.
Dad hunted with the 270. Grandpa hunted with the 270. I've always been a fan of the cartridge, and then the more I shoot it and learn about that cartridge, the more capable it is. I'm like, wow. I don't know how that cartridge didn't hit the mark for long range. It's got the potential, but no big company ever took off. Like Hornady never took that caliber and was like, hey, we're going to make a long range gun out of this. Because it's got it.
So it's got that nostalgia for you, but then also you're saying performance-wise, as far as hard hitting.
It hits super hard. I like I said, I'll have to send you the guys the videos, but I was really amazed at how hard it hit compared to a 300 PRC. That's the 300 PRC is a 375 H&H case pushing a 301 mag bullet.
No.
It's an artillery round,
Right?
you know, and it's just different powder burns, I guess, because it didn't hit near as hard.
That's the 270. Then. Yeah, that's wild to me.
That's what I got when I graduated high school. My grandpa gave me a 270 that he bought back when my dad was still in the Marines. He bought it from somebody who was in the Marines with way back then, and then gave it to me for my graduation gift. And I mean, I love that gun. I still hunt with it to this day, but I don't really have the nostalgia really, because like my dad grew up hunting with 308. His dad 308, like 308 was like his big thing. And
well, you have a pretty sweet 308.
I do.
Too.
I love it, but it's tough. It's a tough choice between those two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, if you're deer hunting, those like a 270 or less is perfectly capable of taking a deer. I mean, it's all about shot placement and distance.
100%.
You know, if you're going to be a long range shooter, you need to have long range ballistics and at least know what your gun's capable of. And then yeah, definitely.
These guys, the Shooting Performance Institute, he's a Navy SEAL SOCOM guy that started his own training facility, which seems like they all do. But his specialty was long range shooting. So, and he does actually. It's coming up real quick. It's called the Hunter's Challenge, and it's you're hoofing it, walking out through the Nevada desert, and you know a random rock and a stick over here, and that's what you get to shoot from. And it's big prizes. He's got some big prizes that companies donate.
Have you gone to that?
Yes.
You've gone through his training? Or?
I went through his intro to long range, and then because of being in the industry, but Josh's buddies with him, so we went back and shot with him. I met Stone Cold Steve Austin because of him. Oh. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Did you challenge him to a wrestling match?
No.
You're smart.
Yeah. Still, even at his age, he's still a big dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
you don't want to mess with guys like that.
No, super soft-spoken dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, it was wild. I'm like, hey, I'm a huge fan. It's really nice to meet you. He's like, thank you.
He's mellowed out a little bit.
My voice is a little raw right now. I'm like, really? He says when he does interviews and stuff like that, because he has to play the part,
so he's yelling and screaming.
Yeah, hammers on his voice.
That guy at that concert last night, the way he sings, it's such a, where you can see every vein in his neck and he's like yelling and you're like, but he has that really raspy. I'm like, dude, the next day.
Yeah, it's got to be brutal.
Oh, yeah. And he's got a show tonight. So I'm like, how do they do that?
Yeah.
And I mean, they did something like 24 to 27 songs.
That's a huge set list.
It's huge. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. It was fun.
That's what it's all about.
But yeah, John, do you have any other questions when it comes to target shooting? Because you do a fair amount. And I mean, you usually set a gong about how high up the hill when you're shooting or how far.
Kind of depends on kind of where we're at, what we're wanting to do. Like we just shot not too long ago. Like my goal, like the one thing I wanted to do was shoot 1,000 yards. Like that was after shooting everything else, like before, like 500 yards, I was like, man, that's a ways out there. And then we did it. I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. So then we're like, well, let's get further. And we found a spot that we could shoot 700. And same thing, it's like, that's way out there. There's no way. And we did it. And I was like, 1,000's like only a couple hundred more. And we did it. But the spot we were at couldn't get 1,000. We had 1,200. We're like, oh, that's even more far. Like that's even further.
But it's not 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
There's something about it. When I went to because I got into it because of where I was working, just purely, hey, we all got long range guns. You should get one too. Okay, sure. I got a Ruger Precision chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. Put a nice Leupold Mark V on it. I was like, yeah, we're good to go. It's a heavy gun, but you're shooting long range. You're bench shooting.
Exactly.
So whatever. I took that gun with me to this class that I took, and out to 1,000, we'd have been doing it all day long here. I found a sweet little spot out in Alsea. And we got bored with it. That's why let's go through the class and see what else he can teach us. And there we could shoot a mile. cool. I get there and everybody's like, there's no way you're going to hit a mile with a 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm like, well, I got some 153 grain that says I can. That ballistically, it says I can.
Yeah.
They're, okay, we'll let you try. Out of 10 shots, I hit 3 times on a 4-foot by 4-foot sheet of steel.
Dang.
Couldn't even see it.
That's crazy.
Like I took pictures of it, like from the naked eye, and then zoom way in, and I'm like, see that bare spot on the bank? They're like, yeah. I said, there's a target there. It's so far that we had a spotter and then a spotter, like up a couple hundred yards to the side of the target, and he would radio to him. This spotter could see the trajectory of the bullet, but the guy up front would tell us the actual hits.
That's so cool. Can you imagine videoing that as it's coming in, like a lob?
You're aiming like 60 feet above your target.
Wow, that's crazy. That is unreal.
That's what people don't think about. It's like you were accurately just lobbing
lawn darts.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the data, and you know what you're doing, and
it's a safe place to do it.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah,
it's fun.
That's unreal.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, when we shot the 1,200 yards, like it was. I mean, we had the perfect setup for it all, like, and we just went right for it, and I mean, it was so much fun. I think we each had like 50 rounds. Like we were just thinking about messing around, but we each shot all 50 rounds. Just like we blew through it like quick, and we're like, man, we should have brought more ammo with us. Like we ran out, and we're like, now what do we do?
Yeah.
So
that was when it was cheap, though, huh?
Yeah. Oh, we reload for it, so it's. I mean, it's cheaper, but yeah, it was.
It's still. Just the other day, I was somewhere and I looked in the shelf, and a box of 300 PRC was like almost $70.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. So the loopholes are I have a loophole on my gun too, and it's that CDS system. Mm-hmm. Do you have one of those CDS dials on yours?
Mine is. I guess it is. It's not the CDS reticle. It's
mine's a CDS dial where I can take off the top dial, put the CDS dial on it, and you tell them where you're hunting, your elevation, all those things, your ballistics. And then you put it on there, and you can just click to, let's say, the 4, and then you're shooting at 400 yards.
Right. Yeah. I've talked to Leopold's competitive shooter about it, and he was like, because I learned just off of clicks to stay with it. He's like, if I change to something different, it'll be confusing. And especially try to be like, if you've got a group, everybody shoots together, be the same. So then one guy sets his data and everybody can run off it. Then it's way less confusion.
Yeah.
You've got one guy that's running mills and one guy that's running MOA. It gets tough. Pretty soon, everybody's just sitting there messing with their phones.
And you're not shooting.
Yeah, trying to get data brought up, trying to help out your buddy. But we're killing time here, guys.
Yeah.
There's some really sweet spots, especially in Oregon, to shoot that people have no clue. There's a guy that owns a runway outside of Bend. It's a runway during fire season. That's it.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the time, it's out to 2 miles.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he'll let guys come out there and shoot.
It's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
And if you can get a hold of him.
Right.
Like last time we tried to go shoot, he was somewhere in another country buying a car. What?
Yeah, those aren't the kind of problems I typically run into.
No, not me neither.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
So, if you're going to shoot at an animal, what's your comfortable range that you would want to take a shot?
Probably 500 yards. Mm-hmm. I would be comfortable at 500 yards with my 270. That's the only gun I take in the woods. But it's the lightest one I got. That was my hunting rifle. It's always been, and that was its sole purpose. Now, when I take it out, it's just I shoot it a couple times. It's on, and it goes hunting with me. Ironically, it's the most inexpensive rifle in my safe.
Yeah.
Good old Savage.
It's not your target shooting guns.
No. Yeah. It's not. And I didn't intend for it to be the most accurate rifle I have, but because it's got that trigger, I backed it all the way down. Every time I touch the trigger on it, it scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But I could put hit over hit with that rifle. So it's all about how your comfort level and the training.
Yeah. Dylan always talks about his dad and his 300 Weatherby being an extension of his arm. So it sounds like the Savage 270 is the same for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
It is definitely. It's the most comfortable gun I've got as far as carrying around and knowing it is where I want it to be. I've got other guns and they're accurate. On paper, far more accurate. But am I as comfortable with it?
Yeah.
Probably not.
If you're taking one gun to fight the zombies, that might be the one you...
1022.
Okay. Yeah. So, do you do any competition shooting?
I don't. Not for the lack of... I mean, I've had plenty of opportunities. It's just... I don't know. I guess to me, I don't think it's... I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I don't see it as fair to other people that are going to pay money to go shoot in a competition where I get paid to go up in the woods and shoot all I want and to practice and practice and practice and practice. That's kind of messed up.
Yeah, so you have a competitive advantage. You don't want to take advantage of people.
I'm not that guy. I'm not trying to beat up on somebody just because I get the chance to go shoot every weekend.
Yeah, so is Thor Targets involved in a lot of competitive shooting, though?
We sponsor some competitive shooters. We sponsor a lot of kids.
Oh, cool.
A lot of youth shooters. And it's really important to get... I was listening to a podcast, a different one, the other day, and the guy talked about how going through their youth shooting program, every time a child got to actually shoot a gun, it not just educated them about it, but it kind of steered their future life political views. Best way to put that.
Yeah. Just open their mind a little bit to something that maybe they were afraid of or didn't understand.
Or just never had the opportunity. That was a lot. Biggest one that I've come across is they want to shoot, they want to know about guns, but they've never just had the opportunity presented to them. Yeah,
we had my uncles on the show quite a while ago, and it's episode 9, and they were talking about how in the gymnasium at Sweet Home High School they shot 22s. Yeah. And that you could buy 22 rounds from your principal back in the day. I mean, it was just, and every vehicle had a gun in the window.
I grew up in Coos Bay. It ain't no joke.
Right.
He was dead serious about that. I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I graduated high school in 95. And I can remember my freshman year seeing pickups with rifles in the back window. It was a whole different time.
Yeah, and now they will arrest you if you show up to school that way,
Yeah, so, I think it's more than just arrest you.
Yeah, it's a bad deal.
Yeah, I just don't want to find out.
No, definitely not. So opportunity is what I was getting at. You know, these kids growing up now just don't get those opportunities unless there's someone that invests in them in that way.
Here's my bag on the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife and hunters education. It's so hard. The classroom part, no problem. But when you've got like 3 week, what do they call it, field days a year, on the wrong side of the state, inevitably it's going to be
so close. I just went through this with my son because we have this bear hunt coming up. So he had done the online course part, and then we had to find a class, and we had to get it done before this bear hunt. And so we found one in Elmira, which is down by Eugene, and we go down there and spend the whole day.
Yep.
And there was like 30 kids in the class. He got 100%. He was one of 2 kids that got 100. And, it was a fun day, and they taught us a lot of cool stuff.
Right.
And you get to shoot some 22s in 3 different positions, and he got to shoot a shotgun. He was really nervous about that. But and they do a really good job with it, and there's a ton of federal dollars that go into that. So depending on how much you have for volunteers and volunteer hours dictates how much federal money you get. But I want to say, and I could be totally off on this, but the guy that was running it told us it's like a $5 million budget every year.
Wow.
That's a lot of money that gets poured into hunters education. So, and that comes from the federal, then kind of filters out to the state level.
Right.
So but I'm with you. It's like opportunity, and just the hard thing about hunting and dealing with firearms, if you take a kid out fishing, probably the worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to maybe get a hook where it shouldn't be. But when you've got a weapon that could potentially kill somebody, and you've got a young person who is either nervous or not prepared, things can happen. So it has to be, these guys did a really good job of being really attentive to each kid as they were shooting. They had two volunteers on each kid as they shot, and making sure the muzzle was in the right spot and everything was good. But it's kind of nerve wracking.
It's not just, I mean, it's catastrophic. It's not just like, oops.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Oh. Who was it that shot his hunting buddy? It was a president we had, the vice president.
Yeah, George W. I don't think it was him, but it was Dick Cheney was out hunting,
it was
and
Cheney,
So it's always when you're in hunting camp, it's always like, don't Dick Cheney me, when you're going to hunt or whatever.
Know where your buddies are. Always be aware.
Yeah, you can't take that bullet back.
No.
And like you say, when your triggers that hair, as soon as it goes off, it's not coming back.
Yep.
So it's but I do think it's something that I'm with you. We've got to do more to get kids.
I think the biggest thing for me would be to see reciprocity from other groups, because like my oldest stepson, he was in Boy Scouts. He started when he was like 12. His first merit badge was a shotgun merit badge. Second merit badge was the rifle merit badge. Okay, so he proved that he can shoot and he can handle a gun safely. Why can't either these instructors become these scout instructors become certified with the state? Or why can't the state see the scouts' requirements is good enough to achieve their hunter safety? Because I mean, they're learning the same things, and I mean, obviously, I did right with what I did. He shoots expert every year, doesn't miss, and I mean, he's a big bad Marine.
Yeah, well, and that's a good idea. I mean, that's something, because they have a shortage of volunteers and they're always looking for people. So it's like, hey, there's these other people that are teaching the same skill set. Let's say this, come and look at the program, see what the Boy Scouts are showing these kids, and say that's equivalent to hunter safety, and then you're helping getting more kids ready to go.
Yeah. And just
that's smart.
Just reciprocity. Let's see a standardized system across the board, and everybody can work together. It's just, I mean, it's a huge community, but it's a small community at the same time. It kind of seems like anybody that likes to hunt would much rather just kind of be by themselves up in the woods, leave me alone. So we're all small town minded, I think.
I also think that any organization, no matter who it is and what they stand for, can always get behind the next generation.
Absolutely.
And trying to help kids get excited about what we're excited about.
We just did at the range in Lebanon. Their instructor there, he called me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm doing a class for kids through USCCA, and he's like, can you come? Just be an extra, just help out." Yeah, absolutely. And so he paired me up with the youngest shooter they had there, a little girl. She couldn't even see over the shooting bench. I had to get a bar stool for her. Got her all set up there on the rest. First shot, bullseye. Nice. She was grinning from ear to ear. You can't take that satisfaction away. You can't take it away from me, much less her. It was super satisfying. I was like, cool, you did it. And I do it again. Well, I looked, I'm like, you missed. She goes, no, I didn't. She goes, I shot right where you told me to. I'm like, oh, yeah. So the girl's a crack shot, too, on top of it, Yeah. And so it's super cool. I'm like, not only are you good, but you're really good. You can outshoot your brother soon.
Yeah. You're paying attention. Mm-hmm. You're putting the time in. Yeah. John, do you have any other questions?
When you are shooting long range, is your 6.5, is that like your go-to one, or do you have like one that you would like pick over the other?
I guess it would be the situation, because if we're going to go out and shoot 1,000 yards, then I'm going to take my 6.5.
Yeah.
Because it's plenty capable. I have more data on it, is dope data on previous engagements. So I have way more dope on that than I have on my 300 PSC. It's the same platform. So Ruger Precision. I put a Night Force on it though. So only different, same reticle, just different brand.
Yeah.
But I don't have the chronograph. We just got it. So once I get my bullet speed, I'll be set. And then I'll be able to start going out more distance. I've only shot it out to 800 yards. Plenty capable to go way farther. I just haven't got the opportunity.
Yeah.
It seems like once you get out past 1,000, it's hard to find spots.
Oh yeah.
They're here. You got to put in the time and driving around and finding, okay, from here to there, okay, now let's go make sure that spot's safe enough to shoot at. Because I found one spot out, and I'll see, and I mean, when you pull up, you're blocking the road, and that's your shooting spot. There's no access to that other end. So we're like, perfect. We'd been shooting out there for months, and one day a Jeep appears at the other end after we'd been shooting for like an hour. I'm like, what? And so we stopped shooting, cruised down there. We're like, dude, we're shooting here. And he's like, oh, crap. Okay, I'll get out of your way. And yeah, sure, somebody had put in a Jeep trail on the backside of that cut.
Oh, man. Wow. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10 minutes before that, we were shooting a 50 cal.
Jeez. Yeah, you would have heard the wrong kind of plink.
Yeah. It was like, frightening.
Yeah.
So that's where you got to put in the work, is just making sure you find a safe spot to shoot.
Yeah, and no matter how safe it is, you think it is. It's like double check, triple check. I remember one time we were shooting. It was the end of deer season, and we were shooting pistols, and we had plenty behind us, and everything was fine. But then all of a sudden, this guy just comes walking over the hill. After we shot like you're getting at like 40 rounds or something.
Yeah.
And then there's this guy coming over the hill, like right where we were shooting. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing, man? Like, where are you coming from?
We were shooting down, so it would have been the back side of Shotgun Creek. So from the Brownsville side, up in the hills there. And we were shooting. It was like 1,300 yards. Everything's fine. All of a sudden we see a little pickup. He's cruising along. We're like, oh, we'll stop, watch him. He cruised right up to the landing we were shooting at, walked right up to our target, looks at it, picks it up. That's when Josh yelled at him, hey! He just hangs it back up and starts looking around. And so then he drives down to us. We're like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, what? I seen the sticks in the road. We just kind of barricaded the road a little bit. I just drove over him, drove up here. We're like, yeah, we were shooting at that target. Oh, what were you doing up there? I was picking up brass. Yeah. Wow. Well, next time you see a target sitting on a landing, I wouldn't stick around.
It's probably there for a reason.
Yeah. Or, maybe you would have been observant to the shots that had been previously fired. But, you just don't know. I guess if the windows are up and people aren't paying attention, then they don't hear the shots.
And honestly, in this generation, people are oblivious. Mm-hmm. The world could pass them by.
Yeah. That's kind of scary.
It is.
And so you definitely have to, you're protecting them from themselves, but also protecting you from, because none of us want to hurt anybody.
No, absolutely not.
That's the worst case scenario for anybody that's a shooter or hunter.
No, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Even in my worst enemy, I wouldn't want that. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's nothing you would ever want. So if people want to follow Thor Targets, what's the best way for them to keep in touch with you guys?
Well, we're on the social medias.
Okay.
So Facebook, Instagram, Thor Targets. You can go to our website, thortargets.com.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend that if you go to our website to input your zip code and see if there's a dealer by you. Because just to order something from our website, the prices are inflated because we don't necessarily want you to buy directly from us. Mm-hmm. We want you to go to our dealers, because then our dealers are making a little bit of money and we're making a little bit of money, and you're getting a quality product for way less than if you were to order it off our website.
And you're supporting those local retailers too. And
yes. So like our store closed last September. I had a guy pull up yesterday. Well, when did you guys close? We closed in September. Well, why'd you close? Because obviously you haven't been here since September.
Yeah.
It's like,
retail's tough.
It's super tough.
I like to just go in and buy local when I can, but the biggest frustration as an outdoorsman is you go in there for a specific item and they don't have it.
Yep.
And then you talk to the folks that are working there, and it's hit or miss. Some of them are really good and they really want to help you, and others could care less if you're there.
Yep.
And the ones that are on the latter end of that typically will say, well, just go online. It's like, well, I came in here because I didn't want to just go online,
That was one that really got us at the store, was people would actually go on to like Arrow's website and order a lower to have it shipped to our store to pay a transfer fee that's going to put them over the cost of if they would have just come into the store and bought a lower.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. It's like, you're going to use this anyway.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay more to do it. And we're going to make less.
And we were just a phone call away. Obviously, you knew we were here,
Yeah.
So we actually started putting policies in place where people had to go onto our website and fill out a form prior to placing the order. If we got the request for the FFL before they had actually gone on our website, then we would decline it. Just because, this is silly, man. We're struggling too, and then you're going to order it from somebody
Yeah.
and pay more money.
Yeah.
I've heard that new gun space is just really hard to make a living at
It's
because
horrible.
the markup is so
and
small.
the cat tax, the profit margin on guns is nothing. And so then they're adding on a profits tax on top of that. You're like,
This
they're not
doesn't
making
work.
Nothing. No.
Yeah.
Accessories.
Yeah.
That's what,
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
where
going to
it's
open
at.
a gun store now, just sell accessories.
Yeah.
You can have a couple guns,
Yeah.
But,
Just because they're fun to have.
accessories is where it's at. That's A, you don't have to have the FFL, and B, you can actually generate a little bit of profit buying parts, selling parts.
Well, and obviously you guys have found your sweet spot in targets, so
Yes.
it's keeping going with that.
And every day it's more and more. So we'll see. The sky's the limit, right?
yeah.
So we just got a huge order from Guam.
Oh.
Their military is revamping all of their target systems. So
Huh. That's pretty cool.
don't count your chickens till they're hatched. So
Sure.
we'll see.
Till you're shipping the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to go buy some Thor targets and go try them out.
Yeah.
After having you on here and knowing I can just go to Bi-Mart and go pick up some. And I've always liked shooting steel targets. I've always gotten the cheap ones, just for 22s. But I'm ready to upgrade to something nicer.
You need to.
Yeah.
I will say that all of our targets are rifle rated. We don't even make a pistol rated target. A lot of people ask. 3,000 feet per second at the point of impact. That's like a rule of thumb. You can get away with some little more. Just if you got a 300 Win Mag, just put a little more distance between you and the target, and you'd be fine.
I would guess those have to go through pretty rigorous testing too, like stress testing and things like that.
I test them.
Yeah, do you?
Oh, yeah.
You put a little bit of time behind the gun, making
That's
sure.
the best part.
Yeah.
that's the fruits of the labor. Is when the boss comes out and sets down a can of ammo and says, "Let's see how it does."
Let's go test it. I guess if I have to go to work.
We've got a friend of ours that owns a pheasant farm out
Lucky Mute pheasants?
like what?
Is it Lucky Mute pheasants?
No, he's. Now I can't even think of the name of the. It's up Calapooya.
Okay. Oh yeah, I've heard of that one too.
yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but I've heard of it.
It's I can't even remember. I know the guy. It's George. We'll go to George's. I don't even know what the actual business name is, but he's got some pretty sweet little spots where we can get some distance out and test stuff. When we came out with our new base design, it was literally range day. Everybody bring your family. We set up every target out there was on that new base, and so we could just hammer it. And it wasn't so much about the target; it was just seeing if the base would stay together, because it's not like any of the other ones. All the other bases have all been a fixed, solid one piece. And this one actually breaks down and collapses. It fits in a box. It's 2 inches tall and 18 inches long.
Oh, man.
So
it's convenient.
Be able to make it stay together and take the torture was the first test. Second test was go up on top of the shop and throw it. Stayed together. All right, we're on to something. And to be able to put it in that small of a package just makes it that much more retail friendly for us.
Sure. Shelf. It's always about shelf space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a high commodity.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got to fight for your space.
You do. You
Yeah.
really do. Some industries more so than others.
And I'm a taller guy, so if you're on the bottom shelf, I'm not going to go for that generally.
And vice versa. I'm a short guy, so
somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Back when Black Friday was a thing, I was always the guy that the lady would be like, can you get me that DVD player? I'm like, do I have a Bi-Mart apron on? But I didn't mind,
helping out your neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Reef, we really appreciate you coming on. And
It was good being here.
Yeah, and we definitely want to hear how the stargazing goes this evening. We want to follow up with us.
I'll send John some pictures.
Yeah, send us some pictures too, so we can promote you guys and get you out on when we release this episode. It usually takes a week or two. So
yeah.
But yeah, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, spending part of your Saturday with us. Thanks, John, for setting it up.
Thank you.
All right, bud.